We hope you enjoyed this production from the Unitarian Universalist Church of Akron. If you would like more information about Unitarian Universalism or our community, please visit us at uuakron.org. The following recording is from the May 31st, 2015 service titled, I Want to Make a Difference in the World, led by Elizabeth Riley. Today's service will explore some of the questions and possible sources of answers this common aspiration raises. What does it mean to make a difference? How much impact counts? How do we choose, or do we choose, the path to fulfill this aspiration? What prepares us for success or failure in our endeavor?
Well, I told Wendy, even though she stole Miss Rumphius for Easter, I'm doing it again. Because I love Miss Rumphius. So I'm going to revisit the story, but I'm going to focus on something a little bit different. Now, you'll remember how as a young girl, Miss Rumphius told her grandfather she wanted to travel the world and live by the sea when she grew up. And he told her, that is all very well, Alice, but you must also do one more thing. You must make the world more beautiful. Well, Alice grew up. She became a librarian, traveled the world, fell off a camel, hurt her back, and came home to live by the sea. One winter, her back was so bad she had to stay in bed all winter. And she began to thinking about what her grandfather had said. She was bored, but one day she was leafing through a seed catalog and aha! She remembered a beautiful moment. And she ordered 5 bushels of lupin seeds. That spring, every day, she stuffed handfuls of seeds into her black cloak, and she walked all about, scattering them everywhere. The people and children thought she was crazy. They laughed at her, they called her names. She does kind of look like a crazy old lady, right? Now, I don't know about you, but usually when people laugh at me and call me names, I want to stop or hide what I'm doing. I'm embarrassed, I'm scared, or maybe they're right and it is crazy and I should stop. So why didn't Miss Rumphius stop? Why did she just keep on? Huge black cloak in the summer, scattering seeds everywhere and anywhere. How did she know that it was right to just keep on going? I think it was because she was inspired, and what she was doing mattered to her deeply, because she had a vision of what might be that kept her going. And the next year and years after that, the lupins came and everyone admired and loved their lupin lady and wanted to be with her. And then she did one more beautiful thing. She told her own niece, there is one more thing you must do. You must leave the world more beautiful. I am being driven forward into an unknown land. The pass grows steeper, the air colder and sharper. A wind from my unknown goal stirs the strings of expectation. Still the question, shall I ever get there? There, where life resounds a clear, pure note in the silence. nothing worth doing is completed in our lifetime. Therefore, we are saved by hope. Nothing true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we are saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we are saved by love. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. I want to make a difference in the world. And in this time of graduation speeches, we hear that platitude, go out and change the world, make your difference, you can do it. We hear it all the time. But what does it mean? What lies behind and beyond that deceptively inspiring, I used it in graduation speeches, so I have to say something nice about it, yet facile phrase? What does it mean to make a difference in the world? And the more I think about this, the more and deeper the questions it raises. Why do we have this commonly shared impulse or drive? I believe it expresses an innate desire that our life have a purpose and meaning, embodied in an external consequence that can be attributed to our having been here now. What kind of a difference? I think the difference we seek to make must be what we ourselves see as necessary to justify or explain why we lived. Or at least it has to be enough to satisfy ourselves that we have not lived in vain. But surely the difference also refers to the quality of our impact in moral and ethical terms. We want to do good. More than simply being good, does it connote actively creating a visible good consequence? It does seem an outer-directed impulse lurks behind the phrase. Making a difference in the world changes things for the better for others. This just leads to other questions. How much of an impact counts as making a difference? How lasting must that impact be? Must it continue in time? And if so, for how long? Past our own lifetime? Well, to give our life meaning, the extent of an adequate impact, again, might start as being self-defined. And how do we set our own bar neither too low nor too high? Must we be a Gandhi or a Martin Luther King Jr. to endow our life with meaning? Or is that an arrogant, even paltry goal that might actually drain meaningfulness or goodness from our actions? Few of us can reach the heights of a Gandhi or a King, spawning a movement that bent the arc of the universe far closer to justice than most of us believe we have any ability or right to believe we can match. Oh, more modestly and attainably, our goals might be more along the lines of Miss Rumphius or Justin Go's Imogen from The Steady Running of the Hour. Sooner or later, one realizes it isn't enough to be clever, to have even the finest ideas. One must do something. One must create some corner of goodness in the world, however small. Well, making a difference requires something less than history-making change recognized and experienced on a global scale, but something more than simply being good, feeding our egos with, I'm a good person. But just how small can our difference be and still count? Emily Dickinson, I know, for those of you in the pool, when is the first time I was going to cite Emily? It's about 5 till 11 now. Congratulations. Okay. She wrote, "If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain." But is that truly enough? Might we insist that we can't just make someone's life better once and then rest on our laurels, our life's goal and purpose fulfilled? What about the temporal effect? Must what we do make a difference more than ephemerally? Is making someone else's day a little brighter and easier enough? What if I pile up those moments and hours and days and people? How many? One a day? A week? Or must our impact continue beyond our death? Again, if we aspire to a piece of immortality, have we stopped being good and started being selfish? Does it still count if that is our motivation? But what if this immortality is how we define having given enough of ourselves? Can our impact ever be truly selfless and at the same time big enough to matter? I told you mostly what I had were questions. Here are some of my starts at answers. Making a difference usually connotes that there be acts and consequences. It isn't the only way to live a good or even a saintly life, but it does express that my definition of my life well lived includes having done something that other beings experience as better than what prevailed before I acted. In the words of the Epistle of James, faith without works is dead. For many of us, and I am one, the life of the Spirit focuses on the internal, the quiet, mystical stillness of connection with the ineffable. It is about recognizing something greater than ourselves and our part in that greater transcendent flow. For those of us with that spiritual focus, our actions and impact tend to be related to and done through our work, careers, our profession, something we associate more with the worldly profane rather than the otherworldly sacred. To live by James's aphorism and our own unison affirmation that service is our prayer, we must seek the spiritual in the work we do, find the sacred in the profane, or make the profane sacred. Those for whom the essence of spirituality is action and social impact have a different challenge: to interrogate their deepest motivations and find the stillness of a pure heart as part of defining and doing the work of change. They must let their actions in the world have reverberations in the center of their beings. So my hesitant start of an answer to the questions about what it means to make a difference in the world: it means doing spiritual work, acting to do something, and judging the impact not only by how it affects the world outside, but also how it affects us at our essential core. This reading is from W.E.B. Du Bois. Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day or future year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greater usefulness of tomorrow. The prayer of our souls is a petition for persistence, not for the one good deed or single thought, but deed on deed and thought on thought, until day calling unto day shall make a life worth living. I'm talking a lot today, so at least I broke it into two for you. But the second part I kind of styled as, how can we make a difference that matters? So the other is the what question. This is kind of the how question. A butterfly, Hitler, Emily Dickinson, Mother Teresa. Each had a profound impact on the world. Each provides us with a piece of an answer to how to make a difference. Now, the butterfly, by beating its wings, has begun an effect that can amount to a cataclysmic climactic impact. Or not. But is that what we mean when we say we want to make a difference? The butterfly neither knows what it was trying to do, nor do we know what it actually did. Presumably, we want to act with some intent bent toward having impact we think matters. Of course, we've already changed the world by being within it, perhaps unwittingly participating in a great effect. But if we were content to have the butterfly effect, that would hardly be a goal, would it? Or would it? Would it be enough, as long as we tried to be sure that our movement in the world did no harm? Renouncing the practice of medicine to become a Jain nun, Sonal Galeka emphasized her deep personal response to Jainism that made to her a path full of thorns feel like one of roses. She says, Rajas Muniji said, if you become a doctor, you help only a limited number of people, those who live around you. But if you choose the path of abstinence from material things, you can help all the living beings in the universe. While most of us mean to do other than having an intentionally good butterfly effect, her reasoning causes us to reflect more deeply on our own methods and to accept a quieter form of difference. And Galeka's experience also emphasizes that the choice of what gives our own life meaning is guided by the deep internal stirrings that cause us to utter that cosmic yes. Hitler certainly made a difference, reverberating far beyond his lifetime. It was evil, incomprehensibly so in motivation, goal, and actual direct consequence. Yet it did, in fact, cause good in the world. Are there much finer models for mattering than the members of La Resistance? And more mundanely, Hitler proved the evil of anti-Semitism and made it visible, hard to miss. Even today, do we not check ourselves to determine if our thoughts or reactions grow from anti-Semitism or some other ism? or from a nobler impulse? We consistently use this insight to combat all the isms so we can make this world a better place and all of us better people. But I think I can safely say this isn't how we want to make our difference. As Mark Halperin says in Sunlight and in Shadow, some things are true despite us. What matters are the things that are true because of us. We might agree that for making a difference, not only must there be intention, but what that intention is matters. In Bloodshot, Sarah Paretsky writes, "You can't heal the world. You can only work with one person at a time in a very small way. And over the individuals you help, you have much effect. It's only the megalomaniacs, the Hitlers and their ilk, who think they have the answer for everyone's life. You are in the world of the sane, the world of the limited." We must avoid a sense of being and having the answer then, and instead focus on serving. And we must accept that we are of and should remain in the world of the limited and be saved by faith, hope, and love. Thus on to Emily Dickinson, who provides a counterbalance to earth-shattering change. For her, living with purpose and meaning is about cultivating deep integrity, contributing small acts of goodness, and words of beauty. What I can do, I will, though it be as little as a daffodil. We are called to do what we can, which might be a great deal, or might be not so much, except it is our all. But it should come from an authentic and genuine place within us that understands that what is being done is necessary to complete ourselves. Making someone's days a little bit better every day, this is doable, and opportunities abound. The opportunity to make a recognizable difference may come infrequently, if even once. So we are behooved to be on the lookout for what cries to our depths for doing. Persistence matters. A way of living matters. This is Emily's antidote to the difference that Hitlers make. Acts of care and love based on what is needed and what we have the capacity to do. Acting from the simple and pure desire to help at least ensures that bad effects are mistakes from which to learn and grow, rather than the ends sought. And the benefit of many little acts is that you can change course if the impacts are less than salutary, making your acts less likely to cause huge, enduring, and historic evil. The contrast between Hitler and Dickinson alerts us to the importance of motivation and de-emphasizes the size of the consequences. So how many of you reacted to that Paretsky quote with, "Yes, but some people make huge differences"? And so we reach Mother Teresa. As an exemplar of making a difference in the world, she's hard to beat. And there's Gandhi, who left a legal career, marshaled nonviolent protests, and increasingly adopted a more hermetic way of life. In which incarnation was he being the difference he wanted to see in the world? How did King have his greatest impact? through his actions or in his words? So why and how are these exemplars different from the Hitlers? I think it's because they didn't create their own versions of what the world needs now. Rather, they addressed the challenges that others labored under and with. They listened and responded. The good heroes share a lack of ego, the eschewing of control over consequence, the guiding principle of love. They respond to their times with the particular gifts of self they were able to bring to their purpose. And so we must each ask ourselves, what are our particular gifts? Our gifts may be many, far-reaching, or quiet, yet sufficient. Finding them and letting them find our path to action is our work. What is the primary virtue to practice if we are to find our path to make a difference that matters? It's easy to say courage, perseverance. And one can see that they can be very useful and probably even necessary if we're to succeed. But if we're to learn anything from Hitler and his foils, Dickinson, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Ms. Rumphius, I propose that the most essential virtue that will ensure that we make the difference we can and that it be for good is humility. And so the start of the answer to how is that somehow we need to find the thing or things that matter to us, that inspire us and fill our souls, that use what is best in us. Or we need to let them find us. And we must then use them humbly each day, either on a grand or a small scale, depending on who we are, to make at least one corner of our world more beautiful. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. As we extinguish our chalice, let this chalice remind us that each morning we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and to give back.
We thank you again and encourage you to seek us out at uuakron.org.